kind of movie. Come on. Hi, welcome back to Movie Night with the Youngs. As you can see, this is a very special episode. We are here on location on our parents' deck outside in Alaska. Why? We don't know. It's really cold. It's 35 degrees. We're bundled up. And you know what? We just thought we would try something new and see how it goes. I am your host, Brittany.
And I'm Nicole.
And like I said, welcome back to Movie Night with the Youngs. This week, we are doing the Gridiron classic, The Little Giants, from 1994, directed by Dwayne Durham, starring Rick Moranis, Ed O'Neill, Shauna Waldron, and everybody's crush from the 90s, Devon Sawa, which I'm sure we will get into. If you guys don't know our podcast, basically we are going back and watching all the childhood classics that we grew up with, trying to figure out how they affect us now as adults, and if they still stand up or they're just nostalgic. Like we said, Little Giants, it is a movie about two brothers who have a long-standing rivalry and decide as they're older that they're going to both they're going to both coach Pop Warner football teams to see who at the end is the best O'Shea. Hilarity ensues. Great football games come. So yeah, I think we should just. I'm so cold, guys.
Yeah,
why?
My hands are freezing.
Why did we do
with the gloves off?
I mean, it looks cool, but why? Okay, we're just gonna jump into the movie. Our movie starts off with our two main characters, Kevin and Danny, as their little kids walking down to play football. I know that I got struck really hard at the beginning part because poor little Danny, who's the little brother, is just really chasing after Kevin. All he wants to do is be like his big brother. And I feel like that was me.
It was you, for sure. That was our childhood.
Yeah, I just followed you around everywhere.
Everywhere. Anytime I went somewhere with my friends,
yeah,
you always came along. Mom told me to take you.
Yeah.
And you would just follow along everywhere we went.
Yeah, but you weren't, like, this is what people don't understand. Nicole is very sweet and nice, and she's my best friend, but she was really mean growing up. It's true.
Okay, I went through a bully phase.
To me. You went to a bully phase to me, just like Kevin did to Danny. I mean, literally, yeah. Kevin did not pick him for his team. Like, you know, on the schoolyard where you put, like, you're on my team, you're on my team. Kevin did not pick his little brother.
I feel like I would have picked you, though.
But would you have actually, like, let me play?
I feel like I would. Maybe not an important position.
Oh, okay.
I would have been in the background somewhere.
Great. So you would have been quarterback and I would have just been like a fullback that's never used.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I felt really bad for poor Danny. And then we fast forward after the game is done. We go to what is present time 1994, and you see that Kevin O'Shea has become this huge football star. He's won the Heisman. He is like the cream of the crop in town, and he is hosting or coaching his own Pop Warner football team, the Cowboys. And we have a group of kids here to try out, including his niece, Becky the Icebox O'Shea. They go through a bunch of drills. They pick the team. I think one thing that stood out for me is, again, the fat kid obsessed with food. No child, fat or small, is ever putting sandwiches in their helmet to eat later.
Let alone bringing food to a practice, I feel like. They're not eating food during the practices.
But you're not eating food during a lot of things that he's eating food. Like, throughout the movie, this kid is, like, there with a bag of chips.
Reese's Pieces is one scene.
Yeah, which I have it down in my notes. Like, he eventually does not make the team, Zoltek. He doesn't make the team. But to show that he's so sad, they do a close-up on him literally dropping all of his Reese's Pieces to the ground to be like, look, fat kid doesn't eat food. He's so upset.
Mm-hmm. Like, his self-worth is tied to the food.
Yeah, it's not okay. It's not okay. And especially in a sport where size actually is a benefit. I'm surprised he didn't make the team. I mean, he wasn't good.
Yeah. But at least you can still put him on the line.
Yeah, you can still put him on the line. Yeah, it made me think though, have you ever not made a team or anything that you really, really wanted?
Yes. In, was it 6th grade maybe? Maybe 5th grade? 5th grade, 6th grade. I tried out for the swim team.
Did you?
I did.
Oh.
Do you remember?
No, because I need it.
Thanks. 5th, 6th grade, I tried out for swim team. I did not make it. I think a little differently at that point, though. Swim team wasn't my passion. It was just all my friends were on swim team, and I wanted to be part of that.
Oh.
And I wasn't the best swimmer, although I thought I did really well, and I thought it was really fast, but clearly not fast enough for the team.
Sorry. Yeah. I think mine was, I mean, I posted it on my Instagram before when I didn't make The Sound of Music. I didn't get cast in The Sound of Music at ASIJ, and it was when like they needed little kids. The high school production needed little kids, so I auditioned and I didn't make it. And I like wrote a letter to the director asking like dad to drop it off and be like, please, please, please let me in. And then I wrote a letter to myself saying, you suck. You're the worst actress. If you want to check it out on my Instagram page, it's really sad. Yeah. It is really awful. But that's the thing is kids sometimes just take things really to heart. And these kids did. There's maybe 5 of the kids on the team that don't make it, including Becky, who is the best player on the team. She's the best player. And
she's better than all the boys.
Yeah, she's better than all the boys. I think for me, the sad part again is later coming after that scene, you know, Danny talks to Kevin, who's like, why didn't Becky make the team? He kind of tells her why, like, girls can't play football. Then a couple of scenes later, you have Kevin sitting down to dinner with his family, his wife, Mary Ellen Trainor, who is the mom to all the night. Do you know she's the mom in Goonies?
Is she?
Yeah. She's like the mom. She's like in Goonies, Monster Squad. She's like the 90s mom. And I love it. Mary Ellen Trainor, we love you. But he's sitting down to dinner with his wife and his 2 daughters, one of which is played by Alexa Panavega from Spy Kids. She's so cute. Basically, his wife is like, why didn't Becky make the team? You know she's the best out there. And he literally says, girls can't play football to his daughters.
Which I find interesting because maybe the dynamics of this family is different than ours, but I feel like when you're a coach and no matter if you have girls or boys, you want your kids to be on the team and you want them to be the best.
Yeah.
So you would have thought he would take that ownership and say, hey, my niece is the best, better than any of these guys on the team. She should be on our team, you know, so we can win. But he just immediately draws to, she's a girl, she can't play.
Yeah.
And she has really no place on the team.
Yeah. And like, it's also just heartbreaking to have a father tell his daughters, like, you're girls, you can't do this. Something that I love, you can't participate. I mean, football's my favorite sport. Our dad has been a football coach for 40 years almost.
Yeah, older than me.
40 years almost. Woo! So it's just really disheartening to hear your dad say, I love this, but you can't be a part of it.
Well, and interesting, his daughters are very, I don't want to use that term, but very traditional girly. Like, they were into the sports like Icebox was, where you can clearly see she probably grew up playing sports. Like, that was her life. Whereas his daughters are very opposite of that.
Yeah, and his whole thing to be like, oh, you want to be part of football? Be a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Which is also very cliche. I was a cheerleader for 4 years in high school, and it's like, that is a real sport. You get injured. You have to lift people. Like, we had football players that would come and be cheerleaders for us as like a fundraiser, and they were surprised how much of a physical sport it is. And it's like, yeah, to hear him say like, great, you can be involved, but a cheerleader, like, stand on the side in the skirt.
That's the only place where girls belong. Which
not endorsed by us.
Yes, no. We don't agree with that. No. But I really wish the mom would have fought a little harder.
She does fight. I mean, she stands up a little bit.
A little bit, but I really wish a little harder. And the nieces, too.
Yeah.
Or cousins.
Cousins.
To her. I feel like they should have been like, even the little girl says, you know, she's better than half those boys. She can make the boys cry.
Yeah, one of Debbie says she's better than half those boys. And then the little girl, sorry, Alexa, we don't know what your character's name is. But she goes, she can make boys cry.
Yeah. So you would think they would have fought a little harder, too, for their cousin to be on the team.
Typical 90s gender roles. Yeah. Then, maybe now I'm the one who always sings on our podcast. And then the next scene after that is Becky and her dad, Danny, where he's basically telling her, like, I'm sorry, if I was coaching the team, I would have picked you. Like, maybe, and I love this whole thing because I think about it all the time. He says, maybe you didn't make the team because you're being saved for something greater. Little did he know what she was being saved for. But I don't know if you caught this, but I was always distracted as a kid during that scene because Becky's making chocolate milk with syrup. And she pours in some syrup and mixes it. Yeah. And every time they go back to cut to her shot, there's more and more chocolate syrup in her drink to the point where it's almost half chocolate syrup.
I didn't notice that.
I looked at it, I was like, that's something Nicole would do. Forget the milk.
True. Always have some syrup.
Just drink the syrup. Yeah, so after the team gets picked, the kids get cut. We then go to a scene where we're at this diner in this town. Again, we just see how much Kevin O'Shea runs the town. He is like the number one car salesman. He has a burger named after him at this diner. He runs in to a group of old men there who clearly have nothing to do, that they just bet on Little Pop Warner games. They basically tell him, like, hey, the team's looking good this year. You guys are going to be great. The mayor walks in and says, hey, I pulled so many strings to get you into this Pop Warner League. We can only have one team in town. There's now two. Yeah. Kevin's like, who's the second team? Danny walks in with Becky. And she really quickly tells him, like, she knows, her uncle knows. And she's like, hey, Dad, like, you know how you told me we're starting our own team. It's going to be great. And she runs out and looks in. And Kevin, like, accosts Danny and is like, what are you doing? How dare you? Which I was like, how many times does this poor kid, well, not poor kid, Rick Moranis as an adult, have to be, like, berated in front of everybody by his older brother.
His older brother's a douche.
Yeah, like, everybody's looking at them in the diner, and he's just, like, yelling at him, telling him, like, how dare you do this to me? It's like,
Yeah. And you could see some childhood trauma, I feel like, in the relationship, because he's still not standing up to himself, even standing up to him as an adult. He's still very, like, kind of like that shy and timid, like, yes, I do feel like I belong here, but not really willing to voice that to him.
Yeah, but he does it a little bit at the end where he basically is just like, I think Kevin O'Shea's, like, catchphrase is like, I knew you'd see it my way.
Yeah.
And then he says, I don't see it your way. We got our own team. So then they decide the only way to have one team, one town is they're going to have a playoff in 2 weeks.
Yeah, which is not very much time, I don't think, but maybe.
Not much time at all. 2 weeks to have a playoff to see who's going to represent Urbana, Ohio. Hello, Buckeyes. In the Pop Warner League. And so now we go into a whole montage of, again, Becky and her friends trying to find players. They don't have enough players, so they're just, like, grabbing kids basically on the street.
Yeah, which is a common thing in little sports movies, I feel like, with the underdog team. They go to scout out just whoever. Any kid, like you said, is alone, probably has nothing to do.
Yeah.
They're not really looking for talent.
No, they're just looking for bodies. Yeah. They're just looking for bodies to occupy the field. Because we know Becky's just going to run every position anyway. She's going to be a little Benny the Jet Rodriguez, I think.
But I think they were friends prior.
I don't know.
I get the impression that because they bond way too fast. Like, they seem like they were friends all along. Because even in the trials, they were supporting each other and
that's
true. Like they knew each other.
Oh, no, that group, yes.
Yeah,
but the kids group. The core group for sure. But the kids that they pull, I think they don't know who they are.
Oh, yeah.
They just kind of see, like, oh, hey, you're kicking a ball in the back alley. Come be our kicker.
Yeah. And then that one kid who's just sitting on the porch with his dad leaves all the time.
Yeah, he just wants friends. He's sad. And then also a kid just on a toy, like, mechanic horse outside the grocery store. Danny's like, you want to play? And he's like, no. I think the best one, though, no offense to all the other kids, is Jake. Jake, our little bubble boy, who his mom gives a whole thing about how she had a difficult pregnancy, which was a lot
of information.
Yeah. A lot of information for a child's movie. And unfortunately now, as an older woman, I understand a lot more. And it is very sad.
It plays into her character later, though.
It does. And it plays into Jake's character to where he basically, has been put in a bubble all his life. And now his therapist told him he needs to get out more. I gotta get out more. So she's very overprotective of him, but he is quite funny in this movie.
Yeah. And I think he doesn't act like he's in a bubble. Like, I think he integrates well with the children and wants to play and is not afraid to get dirty.
Yeah. Like, they're pushing him around in a good way.
Yeah. He's hilarious, though. He has a good personality.
He's a good little actor.
He's funny.
So then we go, of course, through the sports montage of the ragtag team. Here we go again. Bad equipment means you're a bad team. If it's not a metaphor, we don't want it. They're playing with Darth Vader helmets.
They've got volleyball knee pads on.
Volleyball knee pads. They're using cups as face masks. Still no helmets, again. But we go through the first practice with this team. They're looking good. They're participating. They're enjoying themselves. But then we get to the grocery store where Becky is walking down the aisle. And she hears a very loud voice screaming, hooray, whatever he's screaming. And she looks through the aisle and she sees Junior, a.k.a. Devon Sawa, a.k.a. that's not his name and I got made fun
What's his name?
So on Glow,
Devon?
it's just Devon Sawa.
Oh, Devon.
But on Glow, we were talking about crushes, and Betty Gilpin, we were talking about Devon Sawa, and Betty Gilpin, I said, like, oh my God, Devon Sawa. Like, now and then Casper, Little Giants. And she's like, who? And I was like, Devon Sawa. She's like, he's from Canada. His name's Devon Sawa. And I was like, I swear it was Devon Sawa.
We apologize for all those years.
I just really built him up in my head, and I was like, his name has to be Devon. This white boy from Canada has to be Devon. I don't know. We just love him. But he is throwing toilet paper rolls into a cart at the end of the aisle. A couple more of the kids come around, and they're like, wow, like, what an arm. And they ask if Junior wants to be part of the team, but not before Becky has a little panic attack.
Because this is the first time she's had feelings for a boy.
She says, what a hunk. But then she says, the Icebox doesn't like boys.
Yeah.
Which, I can't tell, we're all family here. Are we feeding into stereotypes that straight girls don't play sports?
Could be.
And that's why she doesn't like boys? Or are we playing into she's 12 years old and she hasn't had a crush yet?
Yeah. I mean, I get the impression that way.
Yeah.
She's been so much into, she's one of the guys on the team. And
yeah.
That's how she views herself. And then this one moment where she has, realizes she has a crush on Junior. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden she's like, no, I can't do that because that's not me.
Yeah.
Or that's not who I know myself to be.
Yeah. I mean, we all had a crush on juniors. Mm-hmm. Get on the team, Becky.
Yeah. So she kind of quickly brushes it off and tries to, get herself back together.
But then she climbs up to see more of his football skills, and the whole entire aisle of donuts falls down on her. Yeah. She's got powdered donuts all around her mouth. Mm-hmm. I mean, we never run into our crushes when we look pretty.
Yeah.
It's true. You always look the worst. But I know you have an interesting comment about when Junior comes around the corner.
Oh, and I don't remember what she actually says.
I think she just says hi.
But you can tell the difference in her voice. The tone changes dramatically when she says that. Like, she goes from this kind of, tough girl, one of the guys, and then when she says hi to him, all of a sudden it's very
delicate.
Yeah. Hi. Very feminine, very like, hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Like, it's very...
Again, it's like, oh no, it's a girl under all these boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, we've all felt that way. But speaking of more crushes, after that, Becky and Danny show up to Junior's house, and we find out that Junior's mom is actually Danny's old crush, who's just moved back to town. She's now single, raising Junior where she grew up, which makes me sad because in the end, we'll fast forward a little bit. In the end, Danny and her actually do kind of rekindle that crush. Yeah. And that means then Junior and... Yeah. That's not this kind of movie. Come on. Did you not think about that? I thought about it. Oh.
I thought about that.
I was like, get your man, Becky, but before your dad gets his woman, because then it's all going to get crazy.
It's just going to be weird.
Yeah, you can't be doing that.
But it is cute to see that they kept that relationship when they're older. Like, you can tell when she opens the door, it is too cold.
It's too cold. Like, I can't even, like, my feet, I know I have to take off the glove to shimmy my notes up a little bit.
But it's cute to see them still having the same feelings towards each other. Like, you can tell when she opens the door and she sees him and she recognizes that as him.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that she still has feelings.
Well, and my favorite thing as an actor watching it back is when we see her in the beginning of the movie where she comes and asks Danny, like, why aren't you playing football today? She grabs her locket when she talks to him.
Oh,
and then when she opens the door and she realizes Danny O'Shea, she grabs the locket again. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's such a good, brilliant acting technique callback.
Yeah.
I thought it was very, very sweet. The thing that I think is interesting Junior decides to join the team. They go and they start practicing, and yeah, he's got an arm. Like, he's now about to make the team better. Becky, though, she doesn't pull back her punches. She's still playing amazing.
Yeah.
She's still out here to win it. But then we go from the Little Giants practicing into Kevin O'Shea having a couple of his, what we now know are the Cowboys. So again, amazing rivalry, Cowboys versus Giants. That's a good NFL callback / I am a Giants fan. They lost today, but they're having a great season. Oh, no, actually, they're still on. Okay. They lost. It's fine.
Back.
Yeah. But yeah, bring it back to this Little Giants. We go to the next scene and we have Kevin at his house with a couple of his little cowboy players in their pads, and he's got like a pillow cushion with Becky's face on it, being like, here's the target, here's what you got to do. And I just thought it was so funny because, again, they have little Alexa Penavega using a giant camcorder recording all this. And I'm like, Dad would not ever let us touch any electronics in the house. Yeah. And then here we have her videotaping everything that happens.
Yes. Has to get it on film.
I mean, don't drop it, girl.
It's bigger than her face.
And it's more expensive than her life. Yeah. In the 90s.
But I do think it's interesting, that scene, that, again, he recognizes that she's the best on the team, but yet didn't pick her for his own team.
Shame, shame. Shame, shame. But it is very funny because none of the kids can get past pillow Becky the Icebox. So he tries, and his wife, who's holding the pillow, freaks out, and she moves, and he goes straight through the window. And then later, we have a scene of the three girls watching the video back, laughing hysterically, which we've done on so many home videos.
It's true. It's only usually when people get hurt, I feel like.
Which is terrible. We're not terrible people.
No, but for some reason that's just...
Or, like, we don't even have to have the videotape. We just remember the memory. Yeah. Like Mom falling into the trunk at cars.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. Because then I'm not going to be able to concentrate.
Oh.
That's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
We do make sure that people are okay after they've fallen or been injured. But pretty much we do that. So after Kevin goes through, we go back to having some more football montages of the team practicing. We end up having one scene that I thought was really dark and never caught on as a kid, is where basically Kevin and his little sidekick Butts, there's always a Butts in every movie. Sidekick Butts find out that Junior's on the team now because Debbie, his daughter, told him, like, they've now got a good quarterback. So they go and spy in the bushes with binoculars. They get caught. Danny calls the cops and basically says, like, I don't think it's okay for, like, well, no, but I don't think it's okay for grown men to be walking around in their underwear.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's pretty random.
Like, it's not okay. It's not okay, but, like, it was, a bit strong for, I think, a child's movie at the time.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand. I was like, of course, that's funny. Don't walk around in your underwear. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Peeping Tom.
Yeah.
Essentially. But yeah, I thought that was very sad. And so the Little Giants have decided they need more gear. They're now fundraising. They're doing a car wash. Another dark moment. Butts drives in and basically tells them, like,
they suck.
Well, I have it written down. He says, if I were a mama chick, I'd lead them to water and let them drown.
Yeah, that's I think that was a bit much. It
was a bit much. It's a bit Coach Bombay, they don't deserve to live.
Yeah.
But it was not sarcastic. Poor Little Giants.
But I mean, they get him back. I feel like that insult doesn't phase them though.
No, because then they just spray with the water.
Yeah.
But it is a bit much for a child's movie. But I do think it's a very interesting moment because Debbie shows up in her cheerleading uniform and goes up to Becky and says, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're hanging out with Junior Floyd. Like, even the 12-year-olds think he's a fox, which nobody says fox, but sure. And then she goes over Junior and they're like flirting, and poor Becky has to see that there's nothing worse than seeing your crush with somebody else.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse. Well, there is, but.
And then that's really the first time too that you see a lot more of her emotions towards him.
Yeah.
Because even up until this point, she's still playing like she's one of the guys with him. On the team and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, to see that, you can tell it's really hurting.
Yeah. And then the next scene is literally into her at her vanity with her hair down. She has makeup on, and she's like, give me a J. Yeah. Give me a U. Like, trying to be a cheerleader. Yeah, which is just
sad.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I don't like the term tomboy anymore because girls can be anything they want. They don't have to be compared to boys or to any gender at all. Really, do what you want to do. But I feel like growing up, we were essentially we were Becky. We were into sports. Yeah. We liked to play outside.
And then we changed as adults.
We like a character arc in your life too. But yeah, it just was one of those things where, again, I don't know why watching it back. I don't know how I felt about it as a kid. I think I must have just been like whatevs.
Yeah. I think this time around it was very much like, no, don't lose yourself. You're still Becky. Like, that doesn't mean anything to you. He can still like you, even though you play football.
She's getting a lot of mixed messaging here, Becky the Icebox. But after that, the old group of fellas who are sitting around just betting on games, basically both of them call up Danny and Kevin and say, hey, guess what? There's a new player in town, Spike.
Yeah.
He needs to be on your team to see who will get to him first because they want a little action. And Danny and Kevin literally race through town in a Corvette.
And a go-kart.
Which is apparently street legal. And try to get to Spike first. Yeah. And they show up to Spike, or they race through the town. Danny ends up winning because the go-kart can get into small spaces. Yeah. And he gets out and he sees, like, Spike's dad. He's a military-looking guy, very regimented.
Very hardcore.
Yeah, but what I thought was funny is that Spike's dad literally says they moved to this town for the Pop Warner team, for Coach O'Shea. But he has no idea what Coach O'Shea looks like.
Yeah.
Knows all of his stats. Yeah, knows all of his stats, knows all of his, like, who am I? Heisman Trophy. Yeah. But does not know that this is not the real Coach O'Shea, or the correct Coach O'Shea.
Yeah. I mean, he does question it. He's like, you're a lot smaller than I thought you would be.
Yeah, and then he says that's what they thought.
Yeah. But, I mean, ultimately, you get past that point and he gets to meet Spike.
Yeah, who is...
like a kid on steroids.
Yeah. He's huge. I mean...
Like, this kid is not how old?
No.
Yeah, no.
No. Or if he is, he's eating some extreme beef hormone.
Yeah. He's just a little too intense for the little giant.
Yeah. But basically, Danny wins, and Spike shows up to the team, and Spike says that he's like in Pee-wee hell. The team is not what he thought it was going to be. They go through practice, and everything goes wrong. You know, Spike becomes the main star. Becky gets a little bit hurt that her dad is now making it Spike's team, because all he wants to do now is win. He wants to beat Kevin. It's no more about giving these kids a chance to play. It's he wants to beat Kevin.
Yeah. But Icebox wasn't afraid to stand up to Spike at the very beginning.
Yeah, she says, can you talk the talk?
Yeah. She's very, like, that never changed.
No.
She's like, this is my team type of action.
Yeah. But after this practice, when basically Danny says, like, I want to get Spike situated, Becky leaves practice and she goes to the diner again. And this is where a lot of her emotions come out because her Uncle Kevin shows up and they have a conversation that I did not like.
I didn't like it either.
Basically, she just says, like, there's so much now going on more than just football. There's other stuff. There's love stuff. She knows Junior is going to end up with a girl like Debbie. And she asks him if he's pretty or she's pretty, which is very sweet. Her uncle does say, no, you're beautiful. But
I think there was more evilness behind his motive. Like, I think he tapped into, oh, she's having these feelings, let's play on this. Like, she really should be a cheerleader instead of football player, so our team can win.
Well, and I also think he goes back to kind of just, like, he tells her, like, I think Junior's more interested in a girl like Debbie than a teammate, which I think he's...
so rude.
Oh, you just mouthed it. I was like, I think he was kind of trying to be the uncle and the rival coach at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, if you want a boy like Junior, become a cheerleader, which is the wrong message, but he thinks as an uncle, I'm helping you. But also, as your rival coach, if I get you off the team, we're going to smack you.
Yeah. Which, I actually got the impression that Junior liked her.
I think he does.
So I never understood really where that came from, because I really think he did love her.
But that's the thing, is you don't know until someone tells you.
Yeah. I mean, not to backtrack or anything, but did you notice on one of the, like, they're in the practice round and Junior smacks Becky's butt?
What?
Did you not?
No.
Just, like, you know, the normal athletic, like, good job type thing. But then I was like, hey, I don't know how I feel about that.
All right.
Yeah. Do you remember?
I didn't catch it.
Yeah,
but
he smacks her on the butt just like a, normal teammate.
It is
and
customary.
That's pretty much, like, kind of how you see, like, yeah, she's one of the guys on the team.
Oh.
There's no boundary.
Oh, she got a little tap in the boot.
Not sure that's appropriate, but
consent. We want consent here. So after the conversation with her uncle, a little misogynistic, not the right tone, but 90s, we now have the team back at practice, and Kevin and Spike's dad finally show up because they realize he's on the wrong team. And they take Spike out of practice. Mm-hmm. All the kids get super upset. They're like, oh, we don't have Becky. We don't have Spike. Like, we're going to lose. We suck. Mm-hmm. So they all just leave practice. Mm-hmm. And little Tad is riding his bike, still with training wheels, mind you. He's like 11, still with training wheels down the road.
Some kids are late.
True. And a giant bus comes up and out steps John Madden. Mm-hmm. Coach John Madden asking this little boy for directions. And he decides, I'll give you directions, but you got to come pump my team up. Yeah. So he brings John Madden and what ends up being 4 professional NFL stars. And I feel terrible. I only recognize Emmitt Smith and Bruce Smith. I mean, today, J.J. Watt, Travis Kelce, you had all these people. I would have known. But like, unfortunately, then I wasn't into football that much. Yeah. But the professional football players show up and they teach them different tactics like intimidation and drive and the mental aspects of football.
Just hilarious.
Yeah, and that's where we also hear the first inklings of the play known as the Annexation of Puerto Rico. John Madden is super impressed by this little boy whose name I don't know. Honestly, I will say this movie around didn't do a good job of introducing its characters like in the past films we've watched. Because I was sitting there, I was like, oh, even at the end, the names on their jerseys are like the Terminator, Rad Tat. I was like, but what are their real names? You just never know.
He's basically the guy that ran all the plays.
Yeah, he helped Danny with the playmaking. He was the offensive.
On his like, what is that machine he's using?
It is a printer. It is a computer.
I couldn't even tell.
It's what computers used to look like.
It looked tiny than I remember.
But don't you remember?
I remember the giant boxes.
Yeah, but then this is still a giant box.
Weird.
But don't you remember the printers that used to like go back and forth? Like,
yeah, I do remember that with the paper with the holes in it on the side.
Yeah, the perforated ones. Yeah,
I remember that. I don't know. This one just looked weird to me.
I mean, this was over 30 years ago.
Yeah, true.
Technology. So after the football players leave, we find out that literally the next day is the big game. Mm-hmm. The big game. But we have Becky where she's still toiling with what she wants to do, and she's sitting at the lake looking at two teenagers make out, which was weird, but not more weird than Junior showing up again, which I realized in the same outfit he's worn the entire movie.
With the shorts.
Green shorts
dress
and like
shorts,
like cargo shorts and like a turquoise top. It's the same throughout the whole movie. Yeah. He's the only character that does not change clothes. Don't get it. But they sit there and very boldly Becky kind of just says like,
practice kissing.
Yeah, like, do you want to learn how to kiss with me? And Junior's still kind of like, ew, gross. But then Becky says like, which I thought was funny. I don't know if it's a cover up or if you caught it. She says like, we have to learn how to kiss to have like kids and get a job.
Yeah.
Why the job? I understood the kids, but not the job. And then, Junior, very pretty woman, said you don't have to have kids. Or you don't have to kiss to have kids. Oh! But she kind of gets the feeling there because she says if you wanted to learn with someone, you'd want to learn with Debbie.
Yeah. But he's contemplating though.
Yeah, he says kind of.
Because I think he likes her over Debbie.
Yeah, but like, did you ever do that where like you would tell your crush like let's say like I would go up to like my crush Joe Schmo and I was like, oh my god, do you like Nicole?
Yeah.
Hoping that he'd say no, I like you.
Yeah.
We all played that
back
game.
in the day. I don't think I'd use that tactic now. But
oh, I don't have time for that. Do you like me? No, I'm moving on.
Okay, bye.
I don't have time for that. But yes, so after that conversation, she shows up to her aunt's house, Uncle Kevin's house as well, and asks for her cheerleading uniform, goes home and sees that Danny's in the mirror practicing yelling at the referee, because that's a thing. And they get in an argument basically where he's saying, like, you're the best fullback I've ever had. And she freaks out saying, like, your little fullback, like, Mom used to call me a princess.
Like, but up until this point, that never mattered.
It never mattered. But I think because maybe the gender connotation of fullback is more masculine, and now she wants to be a little bit more feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And they get an argument.
Which, I'm sorry, I really wish they would have changed this part of the movie. Like, I really wish they, like, I get it, the character development of her and going back and forth, because she probably has that conflict, but I really wish she would have stuck to it and maintained her football position the whole time.
Yeah.
And not went back and forth. Because I don't know, I just felt like I wanted, okay, this is a girl, we want her to stay
in the sport.
Yeah, in the sport. And not
true to herself.
Flip back. I mean, she went back, but I really wish they would have just kept her there the whole time.
Yeah, her motivations are never for herself, it's for Junior. And I did have that in my notes, where she wants to become a cheerleader because Junior get his attention, and then later she goes back onto the football team because someone hurt Junior.
Yeah.
It's never her motivation to be who she is. And I also just wanted Danny and Kevin, both of them, in the moments that she comes to talk to them, to tell her to be herself, not to be whatever. Because even now, when we see all the kids going through their nightly routines, we see that he folds up the cheerleading uniform and puts it by her bed, which I think is a sweet, like, I accept you for who you are, but I really wish he had maybe put the football and a cheerleading uniform and be like, you choose.
Can be both, or
you choose. But yes, we go into the big football game, which the Giants are pumped. Mm-hmm. They think they're going to cream them because they've got Becky the Icebox.
Yeah.
And she walks into the locker room in her cute little cheerleading uniform and says, like, I'll be rooting for you guys. And now they want to move to New Mexico. He's like, I'm leaving the country. I'm going to New Mexico. Mm-hmm. Because they don't think they have Becky the Icebox. They're not going to win. Yeah. But they rally. They go out. The Cowboys are pumped. Mm-hmm. I thought it was very interesting, again, when they go out to do the coin flip. We have Danny and Kevin berating each other again.
On the microphone where everyone can hear.
Everybody. And they've now upped the stakes. They're now putting Danny's gas station up against Kevin's car dealership.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whoever wins it all, basically. Yeah. And we go to kickoff, which I thought was very interesting. Another one that I never caught as a kid is that when the Giants kick off, unfortunately, poor little Johnny gets kicked in the groin, and the announcer's like, oh my, somebody's holding a pound of Aunt Buddy's nut butter. What?
I didn't even notice that this time.
I noticed it, and I was like, this is not okay. That must have been an ad-lib. I wonder if it was an ad-lib from the thing. Guys, it's either snowing or raining. Great.
Definitely numb.
My hand is completely numb. Mm-hmm. I can't feel it. And my toes are cold.
It's like stuck to the microphone. I won't move.
We do it for y'all.
Yes.
Everybody watching on YouTube is enjoying it. Everyone listening is like, can't picture it. Just warm and cozy.
It's supposed to snow today, though.
It'd be cool
in the next hour.
Yeah. Snow, and we're not here. But yeah, so the game starts. Of course, the first half, the Giants just get creamed. The score.
They're worse than I felt like in their practice.
Because they never did anything in practice.
Like all of a sudden they didn't know how to do anything.
They don't know how football works.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not very good. Mm-hmm. But they get like pushed into the grass. Like they're just really bad. They don't make they don't have a single forward yard.
Yeah.
They don't get their first yard until the second half. And that's something that's very interesting.
And only 1 yard.
Yeah. But at halftime, the score is 0-21. Cowboys are up. They think they got them. They go into the locker room. All of them are defeated.
Yeah.
Again, they want to run off to New Mexico.
They don't want to come back.
Yeah. And Coach Danny basically tells them, it doesn't matter how big of a bully you're going up against. They may beat you 99 times out of 100, but one time you won. And they go through their stories of like, one time I beat my little brother. One time I did, Yeah. Which Jake, of course, is like, one time I went on a fishing trip with my family, and I was the only one who threw up.
Yeah.
I'm like, bubble boy.
It's a very inspirational speech, though. Like, I felt like, they're going to get pumped.
It's very inspirational and very simple compared to the last inspirational speeches we've seen in the previous movies we've done this month. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just a simple, you can win one time, and it's a win. You know?
And then I love Junior's, like, so pumped. Yeah, just one time. And then they all leave.
What a cutie patootie. Yeah, he's like, one time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And now they're a whole new team.
One time. Yeah, they're a whole new team. They come out of the gate. Kevin is telling the referee when they walk out that they had forfeit, and Danny is like, "Oh no, we got the ball." And they again employ very 1990s kids sports teams, a bunch of trick plays. You know, they bring in that intimidation aspect that the football players told them previously, and they start scoring. They start getting forward advancement, movement, and they're scoring touchdowns, which is great. And their parents are so happy in the stands, which is very sweet to see.
Multiple parents in this movie.
Yeah, that we've seen the whole movie.
The other movies we watch where it's only like 2.
They've supported them the whole time, this time. But we do get to the point where Spike's dad basically tells Spike, you get Junior out of the game. And Spike ends up tackling him after the whistle's been blown. Like, he probably should have been ejected. Yeah. But he tackles Junior, and Junior hurts something.
It looked like his ribs.
Oh, or his back?
Like, when he stands up, he's like,
I don't know. But this is when Becky, who's on the sideline, she's been distracted the whole game because she just wants to focus on the game. She decides, I'm coming back in. Which, as we talked about, wish it was motivated by her just wanting to be a part of the game. But it is because Junior got injured by Spike. Her nemesis.
But I do like this part in that Kevin basically says to Spike's dad, like, yeah, I want to win, but not like this. Like, this is not how I play. Even though he's kind of portrayed like he'll do anything, but he's not willing to go that far.
He's opposite of Coach Riley in Mighty Ducks. Like, he's not cheering on. He's like, I'll kick you both out. Yeah. That was great. But Becky the Icebox comes back in her cheerleading skirt, which I liked.
Really, I didn't.
Well, I just thought it was one of those things where it was what you're saying. It was the meaning of two people. It was the meaning of her being the feminine and the masculine that she's been trying. It's her balance. Yeah. It was her balance.
I just wish it didn't take so long for her to get into the game.
Oh, yeah. She comes in like the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah. We would like to see her like back.
Yeah. But the Giants continue. They are one touchdown down. And at this point, Junior wants to play. He's now uninjured. He was healed. Yeah, he's been healed. Miracle. We just did for listeners out there. We just did amazing jazz hands. Yeah. But yeah, he's now in the game, and this is when they decide to run the annexation of Puerto Rico with 4 seconds left. Yeah.
And they give it to. I can't even remember who they give it to now.
Oh, snap. Who scores at the end?
I don't remember.
It's basically, I would describe the annexation of Puerto Rico as like a garbage time touchdown where you basically are just chucking it to whoever's open. Yeah. Yep, and it was one person who brought it in to the end. YouTube commenters, please let us know who it was in the comments down there.
I cannot remember now.
I can't.
And I just watched this yesterday.
I know. I don't even know who it was.
No, isn't it Hot Hands?
No, because he doesn't catch Hyman. He doesn't catch it. Hanen. Whoa, anatomy. Dang, I don't know. I usually have a good memory. I honestly don't remember. But they score, and they end up winning the game that one time. And I did like how the Cowboys got on the sidelines, and they did start clapping. And it was Spike who started clapping for them. Good game.
Yeah, I agree.
All the Giants are ecstatic. Parents are ecstatic. Danny and Junior's mom share a little kiss. They decided to go on a date. Junior and Becky hug. See what happens next. Yeah.
To be continued.
And Danny and Kevin kind of have a nice moment. Still aggressive. But a nice moment where basically Danny says, we're supposed to be one team, one town. Yeah. Do you guys want to join up with us? Do you want to join up with the Little Giants? And do you want to help me coach?
But he still says he's got to think about it.
It's his ego. He just lost.
Think about. Just join teams.
Oh, that was aggressive to the camera. What does I think about? He just lost. It's his ego. Okay. You would, if I came up and I was like, Nicole, you want to help me coach? You would say, I'll think about it. You wouldn't immediately be like, yes. Come on. You think about it. And they basically said, are you still going to hold me to getting my Chevrolet dealership? And he says, you know what, there's one thing I've always wanted, which is something that he promised him in the opening scene is that one name their day is going to be, one day their name is going to be up on the water tower. Yeah. It is.
But it's only Kevin.
It says, "Welcome to the home of football great Kevin O'Shea." And Danny tells him, "I've always wanted one thing." And then we see the water tower and it changed to, which makes me sad, it's now just the home of the O'Shea brothers.
Yeah.
They're no longer great.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, they're no longer great. It's just the O'Shea brothers.
Maybe they could put that word better.
Maybe. Water tower painters, let us know. But yeah, that is the end of the movie. Again, our hero team triumphs. Becky, I would love to have known what
she did from there.
Yeah, like, or what did she do in high school? Because, like, I know here in Alaska they now have girls flag football, which I voted for every year in one of those little.
And then didn't come until
the year after I graduated. And a lot of my cheerleader friends did end up transitioning over to playing flag football and won, like, state championships.
I want to say she probably kept that athletic spirit. I don't think she, like, ended up being a cheerleader.
No, I don't think so, but I'd be curious to see if she would have made the team at her high school team, just because, again, gender politics of the 90s. Who knows? Icebox, we're rooting for you.
Yes.
30 years ago. And all the Iceboxes now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was nice.
I know a big thing, I don't know about now here, but I know, like, girls wrestling was a big thing that they were trying to get here.
Good, get it.
So
if there's a sport that a boy can play, a woman, a girl, or non-gendered person should have the opportunity to play as well.
Agreed.
It's true.
Agreed.
Because we're great.
Mm-hmm. We
do a lot of cool stuff. We set records. Yeah, that was Little Giants this week, guys.
I love this movie.
We are for racing. But guys,
this hand is.
Yeah, it's gone. But it's okay. You guys, we're spending the holidays together, so we're gonna have a couple fun more episodes coming up for you guys in the next few weeks. Mm-hmm. Next week we are finishing off sports month.
And we decided
we
were going back and forth.
We're going back and forth, but I think we settled we are going to do the very niche movie Teen Wolf. Michael J. Fox. Everybody loves surfing. If you've seen the movie, you know what that means. If you haven't seen the movie, go ahead and check it out. Please go ahead and watch our other episodes that we have here on YouTube. We do appreciate you guys liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Everybody who's listening on our podcast platforms, thank you so much for downloading all of our episodes. We appreciate you guys. The cold is setting in. We appreciate you guys downloading our episodes, and we love that you guys have subscribed to our podcast. So yes, next week we will be here. Elbowy inside. Why?
Outside's kind of it's a breath of fresh air. Look how nice it is out here.
The breath of fresh air is full on steam.
Yeah, I mean you can't tell, but we are
Sanka right now in Calgary.
For sure.
We are breathing dragon air.
Yeah.
But yes, next week we'll be here with Teen Wolf. We will be together for a few episodes. Yay! We're hugging for everybody.
So much taller.
Yeah, I can't.
You probably can't tell, but
sorry. Don't shimmy too much when I break the deck, guys.
Yeah, we're
not on stable ground. Yeah. We're not on stable ground, but we do appreciate you guys.
Washing dryer vent is like right.
Oh yeah, it smells like Downy out here. But guys, we appreciate you being with us. We hope that you have a wonderful week. Come back on Friday when we will have our lightning round episodes for Little Giants. Follow us on Instagram over at what? Oh, on Instagram we are Movie Night _podcast. We appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Have a good movie night.